In the meantime, this is the third time we talk about Miguel's work. Let me fill in the space here. Miguel is going to talk about this very, very ambitious role and task of setting up a European catalog of public services. I see a lot of representatives of the industry with us, the Greek, but not only the Greek industry. So this will be very important for governments and companies when it go live, because it's the first attempt of Europe to jump into this very critical issue of developing a way to describe services, but also a way to categorize them. For the students and the ones that are not here for many, many years, I can tell you that it was the 2003, I think, that UK presented the first government category list as a tree of categories that all services should be categorized. And that was all. And then European Interoperability Framework gave some notions on how to describe a service. Some countries, of course, developed some more elaborate government metadata schemas, as we call them. I remember with Greeks, we developed the government metadata schema for the Greek government. Of course, it's also in English, as an extension to the government metadata schema of the UK. We called it GMS+. But now it's time to see how, let's say, more than 15 years ago, Europe now comes strong in order to influence this part, this very tricky part of counting, categorizing, analyzing, putting online, and finally running services. Miguel, I'm very happy to have you here. You have the floor.
Yes, the first question, Yanis, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes.
The slides?
Yes, we are a little bit late, so I would try to limit your presentation to 10 minutes, maybe 12 if it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah,
12
12
is my best.
Yeah, I will guide you to 12 minutes, like the 12 gods. Go on.
Okay, thank you very much for this very nice introduction. I know everybody, I can imagine everybody is aware of I2, so I can skip the first part. Max introduced I2 a little bit earlier on. So basically, indeed, just to settle the scene, in the European Interoperability Framework, one of the main areas is a conceptual model, and this is what you expressed earlier on, that in I2 we develop frameworks, reference architectures, and as part of the European Interoperability Framework, we have a conceptual model to instruct governments how to integrate public services in a more orchestrated way to find more efficiencies and also to deliver more streamlined digital services to end users, citizens, and businesses. So here, if you look at the conceptual model, there are different components, and one of the components indeed is to create national catalog of public services. Some governments, as you said, are more in this line. They are more forward-looking, but others are still starting to do this. It may sound obvious, but it's not that obvious. Most of the governments, they don't have catalog yet. Their services, the services they provide to users, to citizens and businesses, and even back office services, let's say. So here in this project, basically, we try to raise awareness on best practices, best techniques, for the cataloging of public services, the added value, and also how you can achieve it using some interoperability, semantic interoperability principles. So basically, you can see in the slide the main objectives of this project that started some few years ago. And the goal is to enhance the interoperability of the exchange of information about public services, to catalog services, and to expose your catalogs to other competent authorities. For instance, to foster the so-called one-stop shops, portals where you can have an overview on the kind of services offered to you in one country, for instance, or in one competent authority, in order to undergo the administrative procedures needed to request whatever information, whatever service you are requesting. So in this project, we have working a lot on a common data model. to facilitate the description, the machine readable description of public services following a common template. If we are going to catalog public services, first of all, we need to agree on a common model to describe information. And then we have also tried to streamline the way the information is conveyed to citizens and businesses by applying also new concepts to this catalog of services, creating like taxonomies and ontologies to define life events and business events in order to group public services in a more, let's say, citizen-oriented language, instead of a thematic view that is the traditional one and is more administrative oriented. And sometimes citizens, they get puzzled when they go to a portal and they don't understand much the language. And in addition to this, we provide some supporting tools to make a reality, the creation of the catalogs and the exchange of information about the catalogs. And we provide technical support to member states, even European institutions. So here, this is the so-called data model. Is the core public service vocabulary application profile. This is the acronym CPSV AP. It's an extension of a SEMIC, an ISO2, let's say, core vocabulary. And this is a joint effort. This is I want to highlight. This is a joint effort of more than 16 member states over a period of 5 years, working together to produce this kind of detailed application profile. And also keeping into account the new, let's say, legal framework in the European Union, the EU policy in the internal market to foster these one-stop shops at EU level. And this is the new regulation on the single digital gateway. So with this model, you can have well-structured information about public services. It helps the automation of the creation of catalog of public services, the publication, and as an end result, the real benefit is the easiness to find information about public services in a more easy way in any portal. On the tools, we have implemented several tools to make a reality the integration, the adoption of these structured data models, tools related to the creation of the descriptions following the data model, like a public service description creator, public service description editor, and then tools to federate the information that may be exposed through different catalogs in different competent authorities, to federate this information in a single point. So we have implemented these tools still in proof of concept, I would say, like the public service description harvester, and also the data validator to make sure that your information is fully compliant with the common format of the CPSV AP. Some countries, as I said, they are very advanced, very forward-looking. Basically, we have here in this view member states and regions and competent authorities that have adopted this data model, tailoring it sometimes to their needs, even using for cross-border services experiences, like the case of Estonia and Finland. They have used this data model to exchange information to make a kind of cross-border pilot. We have the Finnish catalog of services fully compliant with the specifications. Sorry, for instance, Slovakia is the same. Italy, they created a specific profile. Portugal, the same. And then we have some regions, for instance, the region of Epirus in Greece actually is using a specification fully compliant with the CPSV AP. What are we heading now is to make this specification a kind of reference standard for the single digital gateway. The single digital gateway is a new regulation of the internal market in a way pushing member states to provide information about all sorts of administrative procedures in one entry point. There will be a portal, and in this portal you will have an extract of the information about all sorts of services in all the European Union to find the information you are looking for. So we are working with member states and with DigiGrow on how we can best support the obligations behind this regulation, supporting the implementation of national catalogs using well-structured data formats like this one, and some techniques, orchestration, APIs, and so on. Best techniques to expose your catalogs to the outside world and to do the orchestration to federate this information in single places where you can find the information and then be diverted to the real place where the information, the administrative procedure can be finalized online, let's say. So we are working in a EU vision on how to indeed federate catalog of services using well-structured data models. And what we wanted to bring here to this seminar is the two studies that we implemented, we drew up last year, that we believe that can help governments to innovate in public services, in the description of information about public services and in the cataloging of public services. One is the use of APIs in conjunction with the CPSB AP in order indeed to federate the information at different subnational levels, local level, regional level, national level, and then at EU level as part, for instance, of the single digital gateway. And secondly, we have another study, and it's a kind of architecture for public service chatbots. The advantage of cataloging your services using well-structured pieces of information is that later on you can expose the information in a more interactive way to your citizens and businesses using more interactive services like the emerging not standard technique, but say chatbot that is very much in place already, for instance, in private sector. So in this study, we provide an overview on the advantage of setting up chatbots, best practices, and also an open source reference architecture in conjunction with the CPSB AP that could be used to set up these chatbots. The findings we got in this study is that indeed there is global interest in chatbots. Actually, the market is booming. Here we can see the graphics, the graphic from the search term and the interest over time in Google Trends. And there are a lot of a broad range of chatbot types. And in the study, we are actually providing an overview on the different types of chatbots. Yes, and also the advantages. Advantages probably are well known to the audience today here in this seminar. Obviously, it's a channel agnostic way. You can also introduce multilingualism. It's a simple interface, better interactions, greater efficiency, and actually availability is a 24-hour, 7 days a week service. As some examples, here, for instance, we can see an approach that is a kind of network approach of chatbots implemented in Finland, but that basically they have integrated different chatbots from different ministries. For instance, one dealing with residence permits to live in Finland, another one how to set up your company in Finland, and the other one on work-related taxes in Finland. So basically, you can ask questions, and if the question can be diverted to the other chatbot, they have federated all these chatbots to create a kind of common network and to ease the user experience without having to jump from one chat to another. Everything is federated. Then we have as interactive digital chatbots, but also more on the in the transaction side, not only informative chatbots, going beyond, going to another step that is still very innovative and not very well widely spread across Europe, and it's electronic interaction with a service. So the Sigma, for instance, chatbot in Portugal allows also actually to request the change of address. You can request a change of address and undergo the administrative procedure doing all the interaction in the chatbot. And then multilingualism, for instance, NOAA, Ile-de-France, in Paris, they have set up a chatbot that is bilingual for English and French. So it's another nice experience that you can have a look in the report. And that's it. That's my presentation, Yanis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel, for giving us a worldwide premiere of what you're doing with the catalog of services. Yeah, I know there are more, but thank you for sharing at this stage the things that you have already developed, because I'm sure that what you do with the catalog and already the non-public but working prototype of the catalog itself is a very important work. I would, if you would like, we would very much like to have students, if you want to have an external view, let's say, we can have students of the school assess the initial stages if you want an assessment like a beta testing of the existing tools already.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we can come back on that. I keep a note because I've been entering through the working groups that you have set up already. I have been entering the tool, the preliminary, the prototype, as we say, for declaring a public service, and it looks quite good. And I have to tell you also that the Greek government is planning to put voice services in the new Greek catalog. So there's a new Greek catalog apparently called gov.gr, and the government is moving fast with this, and they're planning also to introduce some voice services. So a chatbot not only with text but also with voice recognition.
That's very, very interesting, and we've been in touch, yes, sometimes with the Greek government, but it's something we will like to follow up extensively in coming weeks. So thank you very much for the update, Yanis. That's very, very interesting. Yeah.